Hey guys, it's Darwin here with my weekly Q&A to answer more of your questions. If you want to ask a question for next week's Q&A, you can either leave it in the comment box below or send me a video question over to darwinonthetrail@yahoo.com, and then next week I'll answer as many as I possibly can. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into this week's first question. How do you handle your trash on the trail? The empty ramen wrappers, the empty Idahoan potato pouches, etc. Do you rinse out your pouches before storing? The whole trash thing has me flumoxed. So how I store my trash on the trail is I typically carry a gallon Ziploc bag. I'll put that in my food bag at the start of the trail or when I resupply, and then I just put all my wrappers in that. Now I don't usually rinse them out, I just kind of shove them in there, and then when I do get to a town or some sort of a trash can like on the side of a trail, maybe in a park, at a gas station or something, I'll just dump my trash out and keep reusing the bag. Now over time, the Ziploc bag will start to get kind of funky, obviously because there's food and stuff in it, so mold can grow or just overall moisture and funk. So I will trade it out and usually get a new Ziploc bag every couple weeks when I can find one in a town or at some sort of a resupply point. But like I said, as far as rinsing packages, nope. I just throw them in there and then dump them when I get the chance. Is there one specific piece of gear that you're constantly wishing you had with you, or that you're thinking about adding to your pack? Thanks, and keep the videos coming. So yeah, actually the one piece of gear that I always wish that I have once I'm out on the trail is a pair of gloves. It's actually really cold out here right now, and again, I don't have gloves on. For some reason, I just never think of carrying them. And then it'll get to that morning on the trail where the temperature has dropped and it's really chilly and windy, and I'll have to put my socks on my hands because I didn't grab a pair of gloves. Recently, I really thought about it, and on that rim to rim to rim hike of the Grand Canyon, I actually brought 2 pairs of gloves, and they suited me pretty well. And I probably need to always have a really ultralight set of gloves, like maybe at least a glove liner in my pack setup whenever I go out on the trail, whether it's fall or spring or whenever, because you never know when that temperature is going to drop and your hands are just going to get cold. What are your recommendations / what have you seen done for hikers with poor circulation in cold weather? Bring gloves. Like I just said, get some gloves and get good gloves. But I actually have pretty poor circulation myself in my feet and in my hands. For some reason, whether it's spring, fall, if it's 60 degrees outside or if it's 20 degrees outside, my feet and my hands are constantly cold. I don't know why. I can literally be wearing a t-shirt and a pair of shorts and every other part of my body will be completely fine, but my feet and my hands will be freezing. So one thing that I always make sure that I have in my pack setup, and that I actually do bring and don't forget, is a pair of down socks. Now, they don't really help you during the day while you're hiking or anything, but there's something that I always wear when I sleep at night, just because I get such poor circulation in my feet. The ones that I use are the Goose Feet Gear down socks, and if you want to check those out, I'll leave a link in the description box below, but I love those things. They go with me everywhere I go, and they are a total game changer, because I cannot stand having cold feet while I'm trying to sleep at night. It drives me nuts.
Hi Darwin, I am just wondering, have you used trail runners in snow? Because I can't imagine that they'd hold up very well against snow. But then again, I don't own a pair of trail runners.
So yeah, I have used my trail runners in snow. I usually won't use them if it's past ankle deep snow, but out on the trail, typically, yeah, I always wear a trail runner, and I just deal with the cold. I always make sure that I have an extra pair of socks in my pack, so at night when I get to camp, I can put on an extra pair of socks, put my down socks on, and get my feet warm. And then in the past, I've also used a waterproof sock called a sealskin, and that's done pretty well when I'm hiking in the snow. Now, if I'm doing something like a snowshoeing trip that I did last year when I climbed Mount Wheeler, I did wear a pair of mid boots that were waterproof and had kind of the rubber toe bumper on there. And it definitely helps, and it obviously gives you a little bit more ankle support when you're doing something like dredging in 6 foot of snow. But I'd say about 90% of the time when I'm on the trail and there is some sort of snow, trail runners work just fine for me. What will you use as a pillow on the PCT? What do you think of inflatable pillows? I'll be doing the JMT in June and hope to bump into you into the Sierras. So maybe you don't know, but I've tried to be a pretty big advocate for it. Yeah, I love inflatable pillows on the trail. The one that I typically carry is the Sea to Summit Eros Ultralight pillow, and I picked that up to just kind of try it. About a couple years ago, I always thought that the inflatable pillows were totally goofy, and I picked one up just to give it a try, to kind of put my money where my mouth was, and I was super surprised at how much better a sleep that I got on the trail at night, and ever since then, there's always an inflatable pillow in my pack setup. Now, the one that I'm actually thinking about carrying on the PCT this year is the Trekology Ultralight. It just a little bit heavier than the Eros pillow, but it is much bigger, and I have a big old head, so it's just a little bit more comfortable for me, and I think it's worth that little bit of weight penalty. It's just like a couple grams. It's not a lot, but it is a little bit heavier. I'll put a link to both of those pillows down in the description box if you want to check those out. But as I've said multiple times, I think that if you're looking for better sleep on the trail, getting one of those inflatable pillows is a definite game changer. Do you feel as though you need any bushcraft skills when you're out in the wilderness for the length of time like a through hike? Also, do you ever make campfires when you hike? Bushcrafting is definitely a different thing than doing something like long distance hiking. You know, whenever you bushcraft, it's more about going out and kind of staying in one spot and building some sort of a shelter and just kind of surviving. Where long distance hiking is really more of like an endurance sport, right? It's like trying to get from point A to point B, and you have this goal to get to. So do I think that you need bushcraft skills for something like a through hike? No, absolutely not. You know, you're not needing to kill your own food, you're not needing to make your own shelter. But if you have bushcraft skills, yeah, I'm sure it doesn't hurt, but not something that you need to have. Now, as far as fires, yeah, I absolutely love making fires at camp when I hike. We made a lot of fires out on the Appalachian Trail whenever we could, especially on those chilly nights. But the problem is, in the last couple years, I've been doing a lot of hiking in the Southwest, in the desert, Arizona, California, New Mexico, and in a lot of those places, because they are so dry, there are burn bans. So making something like a campfire is sometimes illegal, but a lot of times it's a bad idea because it is such a dry area. Even though I like making the fire and maybe there's not a burn ban, I still try to be as smart as I possibly can, think about the area that I'm in and if making fire is a good idea or not, because it's just one ember that can blow off that fire, blow into some brush, and ignite everything on that trail in flames. And over the last 2 years, we have had way too many wildfires on the major trails, especially the PCT. So I love fires, but I try to keep them to a minimum.
Okay, Darwin on the trail. You and Snuggles know anybody that will offer resupplies where you can just say, hey, I'm going to be in this town in a couple days. They can hook you up with some chow or whatever you need, some kind of company, anything. Maybe it's something you and Snuggles should consider doing. Thanks. Casey, Yak, Montana.
So the best resupply service that you can have out on the trail is just contacting your friends or family and having them send you a box, or doing it yourself, preparing some mail drop boxes, keeping it home with a trusted family member or a trusted friend, and whenever you need one or you think that you might need one in a couple days, call up a family member and have them send it to a post office. That's what Snuggles and I do a lot, is we just rely on a family member, or whenever I'm out on the trail, I rely on Snuggles to send me something when I need it. As far as services go, the only two services I can think of are, one is Amazon. There's a lot of hikers, myself included, that while you're out on the trail, you just might want something in particular. You can get right on Amazon on your phone when you have signal, order up whatever you want, and then have it sent to a post office as general delivery, or to a hostel, or really wherever you want to, and pick it up that way. I would say that's probably the easiest, and Amazon has everything, so there's nothing that you won't be able to get. And then there's an actual resupply service called 0 Day Resupply. Now, I have personally never used the service. I know a few hikers that have and absolutely love it. You just get on their website and you pick out everything that you want for how many days that you want, put an address in, and 0 Day Resupply will send it to that address, which is a really cool service. I'll try to put a link to their website in the description box below if you want to check that out. But like I said, the best way to get a mail drop and get something sent to you is just have that trusted friend, have that trusted family member, maybe a wife, that can just send you something at your call. I was wondering, how often do you take 0 or Nero days when you are on a thru hike? And do you plan to take them in advance or just get into a town and see how you feel? It's kind of just off the cuff. When Snuggles and I started thru hiking in 15, we kind of had a few times planned that we wanted to take a 0 day. We were gonna take a 0 day every 10 days. But just like everything on the trail, it never goes as planned. You just kind of go with the flow, and whenever we decided to take 0 days, it's just whenever we felt wore out, whenever we felt like we needed to take a 0 day. And that kind of goes for everything for me now on the trail. I try not to really plan anything because I've learned that it's better to just go with the flow while you're out there. If you constantly have this plan set, like, well, in 7 days I'm gonna have a 0 day, I feel like the last 3 days getting into that 0 day are just super hard because all you can think about is getting off the trail and like getting a pizza and staying in a nice big comfy warm bed. So I just try to go with the flow, get into a town to resupply, and while I'm resupplying, just there's a certain hostel that looks good and the right people are there that I want to hang out with, and I just decide at the last minute I want to take a 0.
Morning, Darwin. It's Matt from Feet for Brains. Show us what you have in your first aid kit.
I have actually showed my first aid kit a couple times in the past. I did it at the end of one of my Q&As, and I'll put a link down below to that video. It's right at the end. I go over my first aid kit, really basically just kind of show a few things that are in there. And then about a year and a half, I did an old video called First Aid and Toiletries on the Trail. I'll also put a link to that video. My first aid kit pretty much never changes, so even from a year and a half ago, it's pretty much the same as it is today. All right, guys, last question of the week. Could you please say how you came from having a house and thinking about the future to being present in the moment, being present on today? That's a good question. As most of you might know from either one of my other videos or just me talking about it, me and my wife Snuggles used to have a house here in Indiana, which we're in Indiana right now. If you can't tell, it's not the desert anymore. We were married for 7 years at the time. We had a house, we had a career, and yeah, we were very planning for the future, and you know, we planned to buy that house and planned for our careers and that we were going to retire in 30 years. And then one day something just happened and we decided that's not really what we wanted to do anymore. We decided to sell all of that, get rid of our house, and we went to hike the Appalachian Trail. And the Appalachian Trail, doing that first thru hike, is really what kind of changed the way that we thought about planning. Instead of planning for the future, more living in the present. Because I think that, as I said earlier, when you're out on the trail, nothing goes as planned. And you just kind of have to go with the flow. You know, you might have one day where it's just awful out on the trail and you can't hike, so you just have to stay. Or you might have a day where you run into somebody that's super interesting to you and you make a really good connection with them and you want to go to a town with them and have a 0 day and maybe get a couple beers. So the trail and doing something like a long distance hike really teaches you to live in the moment, and that the moment, the current place and time is really what is the most important, because it's that memory and that situation that you're going to remember for the rest of your life. And it doesn't matter what happens tomorrow, it matters what you're doing right then. So I think coming off of the trail, we were just so set in that thinking that that's kind of how we've continued to live our life. We don't really plan for, 2 years down the road. I might plan a month ahead or a couple months ahead. Obviously, I'm planning to hike the PCT, but after that, I have no clue what I'm doing. I have no clue what I want to do. I just have to see kind of how the cards fall into place and go with the flow. So to me, life is more about the present moment and figuring out what is going to make you happy here and now, and then figure out the rest later, because you never know what could happen. All right, guys, so again, Snuggles and I are still on the road. We drove from Joshua Tree, California to New Mexico to our hometown of Evansville, Indiana, which is where we are now. It is crazy cold here and it's totally winter, a total change from being out in the desert. We're gonna be here for a couple more days and then we're planning on heading down east. So the next time you'll see me, we should be in Virginia. I have some pretty exciting news to kind of break with you guys in the next week about what I have going on in February. And I'll give you a hint, it's a hike. So I'll make a video announcing what exactly we're doing. But until then, if you guys wanna keep up with our travels and kind of what we're seeing and what we're doing, go over and follow me on Instagram. We've been posting a lot of new photos lately from the road. I post pictures from past hikes. Go check that out. In other news, if you remember from about 2 months ago, Snuggles and I partnered with a company called Bonfire that actually makes limited edition shirts. And we did a hike on t-shirt that was only available for 14 days. You had to get it in those 14 days. And then after that, it was not gonna be made again. I've had a lot of requests to do another limited edition shirt. So it's time. We are releasing the Embrace the Suck shirt. So right now, starting today, you have 14 days. If you want to grab one of those, go over to Bonfire's website. I'll put a link in the description box below. You can order one up. After those 14 days are over, it will not be available anymore. And then in the future, we'll do another design. Proceeds from that shirt sale go to helping grow the channel and for our travels. Again, if you guys want to leave a question for next week's Q&A, you can leave it in the comment box below or send me a video question over to darwinonthetrail@yahoo.com, and then next week I'll answer as many as I possibly can. If you found any value in this video, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and as always guys, thanks for watching.